chicken. I'm your guy.
Blinking.
I'll have what Joseph's has.
Look, somebody's talking about you.
This is what we call the voice of God.
Popping.
Everybody just gets to focus on you.
Grab me.
Probably not the best thing for an introvert.
I'm asking for you.
Well, I like a good chicken sandwich.
Touch me. Hi, David. Comment.
Oh my God.
Like.
You're actually an identical twin.
Push.
Maybe I'll just ask Julie to talk about what it is to be
No.
an identical twin.
Pick me up.
No, you didn't.
Shouting.
Surprise! Jeremiah, just hang on a second. I just got a text.
There's an edit for your new opening, Joseph.
I feel really honored to have been here, man.
By the way, you've done a masterful job. Seriously.
It was such a joy.
Thanks, Joseph. It's an honor.
Good on you. This was a pleasure.
I mean, you are the prime example of how to pivot in this new environment.
I wish everybody gets an opportunity to interact with Joseph Jaffe and Corona TV.
Who needs Cameo when I've got my own personal Cameo? Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Corona TV. I hope you are well. I hope you are safe. I hope you are sound. For those of you living in the United States of America, or as Borat would say, the United States and America, on behalf of, well, I don't know why I'm apologizing. Maybe I should be apologizing to people who don't live in America. We apologize. I'm just apologizing. You can determine what I'm apologizing for, but I think we all know what we need to apologize for. And let's just move on, shall we? Because we've got a lot of very, very cool things to have to get to and talk about. You know, as a reminder, tomorrow we kick off the first of our ANA CMO interviews. We have 8 of the very, very best from Danone, P&G, GM, BlackRock, Unilever, General Mills, Planet Fitness, and CVS coming into the virtual studio. And there might be a few more as well. And I'm super excited to talk to some of the leaders in marketing at some of the most leading brands to talk about what is important to them and what's on their minds and what they care about as well. So that starts tomorrow, and then we're going to keep going through the week. As far as this week is concerned, in addition to Manos, a good friend of mine, Len Herstein, will be coming in on Friday. He also is pivoting. Aren't we all pivoting these days? Len has a phenomenal conference called Brand Manage Camp, which I've keynoted at twice. And he's doing a whole bunch of exciting things. But he's also written a book, so we'll talk about that as well. So Len, looking forward to seeing you on Friday. But today we're focusing on the one, the only, Mr. Michael Tchong. He is the author of Uber Trends and host of the Michael Tchong YouTube channel. Maybe you've heard of it. And if you haven't, you have now, but you certainly would have and should have heard of him. And we're going to talk about his amazing journey very, very soon. But today is Happy Ask a Stupid Question Day. Today is National Ask a Stupid Question Day. So please think of your stupid questions to ask and put them in the comment thread, and I'll bring some of them onto the show as well. I have a bunch of stupid questions to ask about last night's debate, but I won't ask them. I'll let you guys ask them and see what you guys have to say. Not many people on Facebook are celebrating birthdays today, just 2. Just Svetlana and Stella. And so I decided to, bring up your beautiful profile photos and make you the stars of the Facebook birthday show. And as far as LinkedIn is concerned, a bunch more people, too many to mention and too many to be able to put up your photos as well. But to Alex Hobbs, to Andre Yap, to Mike Harris, to Anshuli Gupta, etc. Happy birthday, my friends, my contacts, my LinkedIn contacts, my LinkedIn friends. Well, let's get to our seated soliloquy. And the seated soliloquy today is called Lasting Impressions. And as you know, is always connected to my guest in some way, shape, or form. Well, my guest, of course, is Michael Tchong. And he made an impression on me 20 years ago, and I never forgot it or him. Well, what I'm referring to is his Web Attack conference. Here's a blurb from his first one in 1999, so actually 21 years ago. More than 900 executives turned out for an internet marketing circus yesterday at Fort Mason that included Dennis Rodman, but failed to produce a promised camel. I'm going to have to ask him about that. The WebAttack conference, which promised no boring panels, was billed as an attempt to teach online marketers to think creatively. See what I mean in terms of creative thinking? For his second WebAttack, which I attended, Tchong hired Broadway producer Marvin Krause to help produce a mock Broadway musical dubbed King.com. Get it? King Kong? King.com? I remember the gorilla. You never get a second chance to make a good first impression, as the saying goes. But most people don't get a first chance to make any impression. So when you do get the chance, you had better make it count. We live in a world where breaking through the clutter has always been a priority, and yet we always somehow settle for vanilla, blending in, fitting in versus standing out. Inherent in the ability to cut through all the noise is the very notion of risk-taking, and with it, the ability to find a happy medium between mitigated downside and unlimited or unmitigated upside. In Michael's case, it was about establishing a conference brand and, quite frankly, a personal brand, and with it, attendee demand at an extremely busy and overcrowded time. The very rise in inflation of the internet bubble was kind of characteristic during this time, but it wasn't just smoke, mirrors, and gimmick. After all, two of his stars, Dennis Rodman and RuPaul, are themselves outstanding marketers or self-marketers, self-promoters. This was about walking the talk, and I would argue was 100% on brand and on strategy. So much so that the impression made then carried over and carried forward and still carries weight, certainly with me today. The tech business is notoriously lame when it comes to marketing, said Tchong all the way back when. I wonder what he'd say now. Well, let's ask him, shall we? But before I do, let me just do a little bit of a background on my guest today, Michael Tchong. Now, Michael is an innovation speaker, an adjunct professor at USF, a futurist, and author of Uber Trends, How Trends and Innovation Are Transforming Our Future. He's founder of 4 disruptive startups, including MacWeek, Atelier Systems, Cyber Atlas, and the iconic Iconocast. And you know what? Better than an introduction from me. Let's just get him on the show because I'm sure he can introduce himself much better. Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. What do I call you, Joseph or Joe?
You can call me either. Which I often say that my American adopted name is Joe.
Okay.
But you can call me either. And Leslie Laredo, by the way, says hi.
Oh, that's great.
and David Libby says, my favorite guest. Out of 120, you're already his favorite guest.
That's good. That's good. Yes. So, a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. It sounds great. CoronaTV is right up my alley.
I would imagine it is. And, it's actually great because I've been a big fan of the software StreamYard that I use. A real super fan, actually, to quote Brittany Hodak, who was on my show. And so, actually enjoying the fact that I'm showcasing it to you today in a way. So you're my guest, but you're also getting a test drive or a look under the hood,
yes,
as it were.
Yes, very slick.
By the way, Leslie says, just don't call him late for dinner, so,
Yeah. That would be Leslie.
I like the other one, which is, the sales 101, and Leslie knows all about sales, which is, I don't care what you call me as long as you call me.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
So Michael, first of all, it was about 20 years ago when we met for the first time. We'll get back into that, but I'm looking forward to finding out what you've been doing over the last 20 years. what you're up to right now. But you look well, and I think before we get into that, let's do some fun facts about you, which is some interesting things. Number one, you. No, definitely a difference in skin tone, because we have very low budgets here at Corona TV. But you were born in Aruba and you speak Dutch.
Yes, ik spreek Nederlands. Yes.
Kan jij een beetje Nederlands praten? Hoe gaat het?
Het gaat heel goed.
Heel goed, dank je wel.
U bent ook een Nederlandse spreker.
Ik praat baie swak Afrikaans. From my probably the only good use of Afrikaans was actually becoming a parent. Talking about the kids in Afrikaans was the one way that we could actually have a little bit of a back channel, my wife and I.
Oh, yeah.
Now, here's another little trend about you. I love this one, which is your first serious camera was a Nikon F2, and it helped you land a semi-pro job shooting. Use that word very carefully. A Bronx mobster wedding at Sparks Restaurant in New York. You can't make this up.
No, I can't make this up. No. Patty Chetta, one of the two co-owners, saw me with the camera gear in the restaurant because my girlfriend was working there. And he said, would you like to shoot a wedding? And I was like, really? I think he paid me like $300, which in those days was a lot of money. And you'll love this. At the end of the gig, I said, I'll take care of the developing and I'll send you the proof sheets. And he says, no, it's okay. I'll take care of it. Just give me the names. Give me the film. This was not for public distribution.
You were like, no, it's okay. I'll keep
it's
the
okay.
negatives.
I'll take care of it. It's part of the service.
And they were like, I'll take care of it, or I'll take care of you.
Yes.
Wow, that must have been amazing. That must have been.
And as you well know, Paul Castellano was shot in front of the Sparks and killed in 1985. Is that whole experience still very vivid in your memory? Oh, absolutely. It's a New York, part of whole New York, as you well know, the mobsters, the garbage men, the hauling, all of that stuff. It's part of it. I mean, that was not the Sparks I was shooting. I was with the original Sparks of the little park off 18th Street there. What's that park called again? Forget. But anyway, it was quite an experience. I'll never forget it. Never forget it. Yeah,
I'm sure. Well, I'll tell you what I will never forget. I'll never forget Web Attack, and and so I wasn't at the one with Dennis Rodman.
Yes.
But
you were one at RuPaul, and as you well know, he's another magnificent figure, just having won an honorary Emmy Award. So 2 tall black men who have worn wedding gowns I have had at my conference.
That's true. And look, you didn't actually get the gorilla to wear a wedding dress or any dress, but that would have been good. This is when I met you. I mean, I remember this conference, at the Roseland Ballroom.
Yes.
And I just, I don't. It's weird. I don't remember the content, but I remember the context. I remember walking in and feeling like I was a rock star. And at that time, I guess many of us did feel in the whole .com era that we were rock stars. But you made us feel so special. And you had this, you were the host with the most, the hostess with the most. You were larger than life, and I think you just created this amazing aura about you and this magnetism. It was a crazy time in our lives, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, even our bathrooms were sponsored. I mean, to give you an idea. I mean, we set all kinds of precedents. I mean, the fact that we had complete backstage built in Brooklyn, genuine Broadway production that was sponsored. I mean, I was ahead of Baz Luhrmann. You know, Baz Luhrmann got sponsorship in his version of La Boheme on Broadway. But hey, you know what? We did it first.
And I love. I mean, for me, I love being first. Even if first doesn't reap financial awards for doing so, I just get a real kick out of doing things for the first time. Like even through the show, I love experimenting and doing things that have never been done before, just because I feel like we have the tools to be truly creative and express ourselves using, this is our art.
I know, and this digital marketing world of ours that we started has degenerated. I'm telling you, literally, because there are, I think, 8,000 digital marketing tools right now. And I challenge everyone whenever I speak. I says, "Can you name 10 innovative ones?" Okay, I'll make it easier. Can you name 5 innovative? You cannot. They blend together in a sea of sameness, and it's, I can't believe the VCs keep pouring money into, all these lookalikes that usually don't help you and me. A few years ago, I tried to raise money for a what I call conceptually a Lego block tool set for digital marketers, because as someone who does it himself every day, I play with about 20 tools a day, and I'm thinking, this is too much. I'm in Google Analytics, you're in Facebook ads, you're in, SEO, you're doing MailChimp. It's just too much. We need to simplify the interface. There are 250 million businesses worldwide, and less than 1% use digital marketing tools. And you know why? So it's a sad situation. So again, the reason why I always profess, hey, look, if you have the opportunity, stand out. There were a sea of lookalike digital marketing conferences in those days, and why be like that? We had 46 members of the press taking pics of Dennis Rodman at our conference. B2B conferences don't get members of the press to come. You know that.
So take us back to the thinking behind Web Attack. What made you, just let it ride, right? Put it all on one number. Put it all on one number and just create something spectacular, a big win. What made you even think? Because you said you did it even before, Baz Luhrmann. What made you decide to create this event that was a spectacular and go after a Dennis Rodman? Because when you look back now, it probably makes a lot of sense.
It's just something that I describe in my Uber Trends book. It's one of the 8 Uber Trends I track. It's called Generation Ecstasy. It's the experience economy, as other people like to call it, but I like Generation Ecstasy better.
I like that too.
And that dictates that in a world where everyone blends together in a sea of sameness, the people that are really going to stand out are the ones that create a total customer experience. And that is something that I wanted to do with my conferences, which is, I wanted you to be, enjoy the content. I want you not to be bored. We were the first people before TED to limit speakers to 9 minutes. And you can talk to any of the CEOs that spoke at my conference, and you know that I did it because they could not believe that I would actually yank them off stage after 9 minutes. But hey, condense your pitch. I know you're there for an elevator pitch. Tell me exactly what it is that you do. And believe it or not, again, like for example, the email marketing panel in 1999, there were like 9 CEOs there, and I'll tell you what, most people were still kind of glazed over after 9 minutes. They still didn't know what they did. So this is why I say, you are the customer is king, and you need to cater to your customer and make them feel coddled. So we had Starbucks coffee. We had the best catered lunch. You know, it was a total experience. Now, what you mentioned, or did you mention that the camel didn't show up? You did.
Yeah.
that was the chronicle. That was actually not my fault. That was the VP of Marketing, Susan Bratton of God, I forgot the name of the company. Comes to me in a minute. But she had a broadband company down in Redwood City, and they were going to bring a camel. And she scooped that to the press. And then Fort Mason wouldn't let them bring the animal to the venue, and therefore they couldn't bring it. But otherwise, it would have been part of their 2001 Arabian Nights theme party, which was a massive success. There were more people that night in Fort Mason than there have ever been before.
I love it. And by the way, Susan Bratton today, you know, in 2020 is larger than life. She's also maintained that zest and that passion, you know, and that,
At Home was the company. Sorry, I couldn't remember. At Home.
Oh, At Home, yeah. Oh my goodness.
The whole basement of Roseland Ballroom was converted into a subway station. I don't know if you remember that, but that was Susan at it again. So that was that's
awesome. Susan, if you're watching, I hope you're well. She's had I think quite a bout with COVID, and
is she really? Oh, I did not know. I did not know that.
Yeah, but I think she's ovid, as they call her. She would be what we call here an ovid. When you're over COVID, you're an ovid. I'm an ovid. Are you an ovid? Are you an ovid or an ovid?
I'm an ovid.
Okay, novids are fine too. Now, you spoke about jumping around a bit, like innovative platforms, and you were like, are there 10? Are there 5? But what does Michael Tchong view as an innovative platform today? There's got to be 1 or 2. What's got you interested? What basically has your attention?
Let me describe my product. It was a singular digital platform, and when I say to you, you can see a screenshot of it actually on my LinkedIn profile. It had a simple toolbox, and that toolbox was just like the iPhone. You dropped an app in, or you bought it from the App Store, actually, of course. You got to help the vendors. And you would use the same user interface. So that means that you learn one app, you know them all. They print the same, they generate PDFs the same, they generate reports the same, they have the same email sharing. All of that was part of the API. So we delivered that to the developer, and then they just drop their apps in. That to me is what an innovative app is. It would stand out immediately. If you got a demo of this on a show floor today, you would know right away, oh, that's Michael's app, because that thing is radically different from all those other SaaS tools that we get now that are more complicated than you ever need. People need to be able to get their job done. And we live in an era of one of my Uber trends, time compression, the acceleration of life. We just don't have time. We're all suffering from TBD. We're all too damn busy. No one has time to read manuals. No one wants to learn no one wants to spend hours figuring out how to get something simple done. And to this day, when you want to take your Facebook list and export it to MailChimp and then do a mailing to, say, the people that are most engaged with you on Facebook, you can't do it. It's impossible. And those are the types of challenges we all have. Let's say we're post-COVID now, we're going to travel again, and we're going to hit show. I want to reconnect with Susan and all these people. Why can't I have a tool that runs through my address book, tells me who I'm most connected with, sets up a little invite list, shoots out an email, says, you are invited to a pizza and champagne party with Michael. 5 seconds. That is a client digital marketing tool. We don't have, it's still a shit show today. You have export CSV files. You know when we're invented?
I know that. What? When?
1968. 1968. And we're still using that today. This is no one, no living human should ever have to deal with a CSV file.
But you know, the portability of data and the ability for us to own our lists and take them with us and be able to import, export, plug and play, drop it in, the reasons why that doesn't exist is because there are probably a lot of companies that are not probably, desperately trying to make sure that we can't just hop from one to the other.
You hit it right on the nose. When a VC says, oh, if you make it too easy. I mean, one classic video I have, I'm going to have to put it in one of my YouTube videos these days, is I went to an Adobe conference and there were 3 CMOs on the panel. And the theme of the event was 25 years of product marketing. What has it taught us? And I got up and I said, of course, you know me, enfant terrible. I asked, so after 25 years of product marketing, haven't you heard that users think these products should be far easier to use than they are? And each CMO, there was a Hitachi, Adobe, and I forget who the third person was, but they all had a little tidbit. And there were 2 stories. One was, one person, I think it was the Hitachi CMO, said, I was in a room and the sales engineer was leaving the room, and he turns around to the coder, developer, and he says, don't make it too easy now, because I will be out of a job. and then the Adobe CMO said, the venture capitalists don't want to fund a product that has one single button, because then they'll say, what's my added value? So complexity is the name of the game. And like you said, we have to have a walled garden to prevent anyone from leaving, say, Salesforce. So we can't make it easy to share data with other applications because they would leave instantly. So part of my solution was I had developed an interchangeable language called Marketing.Jason, which again does not exist to this day. And this is 2016 we're talking about now. And that's made it a lingua franca, allowing you to say to MailChimp, give me just name, last name, email address, and then put it in my CRM or put it somewhere, put in my Facebook, and all of them would talk to each other in a very simple fashion. And that, my friend, would be a complete revolution. And go through those 7,000 digital marketing apps. You're never going to find anything like that.
Marketing.Jason.
Marketing.Jason. Yeah, no, Jason is without the A. Jason. JavaScript object.
Got it. So the one that you're also getting like so?
Yes, Marketing.Jason, JavaScript object notation. Yes.
Okay, I got it.
And all developers understand JSON. So you publish the lingua franca, and before you know it, you have 100, 200, 300 apps supporting it. And we're up and running.
It's interesting. Here we are talking about the art and the elegance, and why not even pay a premium for simplicity? But it's a very biblical conversation. We're talking about how once upon a time everybody spoke the same language, and then decided to build a tower all the way up to the man upstairs, who we assume is that the president? Is that, I don't know, who is that? Is that Buffett? Who's the big man upstairs? The big man. No, I'm kidding.
Big man, yeah.
And then of course our punishment was that we would all speak different languages and have to create Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Babel fishes in order to understand.
Yeah. Again, Joe, it's not difficult to be innovative. All you have to do is, and I tell everyone this, look at your customer journey. What are the pain points? Make a list, tackle them, you have an innovative product. And, they don't do it. No one does it. You can talk to your blue in the face about the customer journey. They don't do it. They don't want to innovate. They don't want to change. Change is difficult. I hate change. Let's do it the old way. So this is the biggest problem I have, which is why I came up with this T-shirt and this whole "You Call That Innovation" crusade of mine, because what I wanted to do is think out of the box, because I ask everyone to do that. And I say, think out of the box. Now, what would it take to get your CEO or CMO, the person that is that log jam that you have at your company that prevents you from being innovative, from actually doing something? So I thought, you know what? Michael Tchong, out of the box. Shame him. Shame him. Chuckle. You know what Chuckle is doing? Chuckle is chuckling and saying, you call that innovation? No, it sucks. That's not innovation. And I have a sticker and a hashtag that you can use on your tweets. And,
I know.
How do we and the problem we have with this country, as you well know, all you read every day is we've got finance problems, we have educational problems, we have government problems, we have healthcare problems, we have all kinds of problems. We need massive amounts of innovation, and it has to happen fast.
Now, I'm going to use your definition of innovation, which is true customer centricity. So the innovation needed and necessary in this country, in this time, whether you want to look at it as an industry standpoint, a business standpoint, or from a societal standpoint, how do we achieve that innovation using this customer-centric lens and using the Michael Tchong approach?
Well, I think, again, it's the journey. What are our journeys? Our journeys are tax time. We can't deal with tax time. What will it take to break the simplicity logjam? Everyone should have a very simple tax form. And you know as well as I do, the problem with that is that there is a lot of politicians who are on the take. There's a company called Intuit who owns TurboTax, who spends hundreds of millions of dollars lobbying legislators to keep it complex. So the pain point is Intuit. How do we get Intuit to change its mind? These are the ways I see it. I say to everyone, you don't have to think of an iPhone every day. What you need to think about is simple steps that helps create a best of breed solution that you can build today. And that would be considered innovative because it addresses a lot of customer pain points. And most people try to overthink it. You don't overthink it. Simplicity. Take out of the box ideas. That Ring drone that flies around your house. If you think about it, intrinsically, it's nothing more than slapping a drone idea with a surveillance camera and put it in your house and then sell it. That is not too difficult of an idea when you think about it. But to get that past management and to get your engineering team to actually solve the problem of this camera flying around the house and not bumping into anything is probably the hardest part of this problem. So that is, why the camera, when it goes into the dock, gets hidden because people are concerned about privacy. You solve it. It's not that difficult. There are so many things we need to solve. I hate doing laundry. I hate to wash my car. All these things that need solutions. There are people that need to start thinking more about how to solve our imminent needs, and we have many. And look, with the coronavirus, we have a lot more. Now we have parents who are stuck at home with the kids. Just like it has exploded in what we need.
So there's actually a two-part. There's an additional part to this simple, and I call it simple and elegant formula. One is start with your customer,
right, or
start with the person, the human, right? It could be a spouse, it could be a child, it could be an actual customer, right. And then the other one is just this pain point. It's the curiosity. It's simplicity and curiosity, which is, I always say to founders, open your eyes, open your ears. What pisses you off? What frustrates you? How many times have you said they should make a blah, blah, blah because, or why doesn't anybody? Well, go do it yourself. These are your daily frustrations. Solve them. They're solvable.
Yeah. And then they spend a lot of money creating, like, for example, let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon has a fabulous ring division now in Santa Monica with this little drone. But they also have another division that is huge, a $13 billion division called Whole Foods. And now that they have integrated, you would think that Amazon would bring its marketing prowess to Whole Foods. It hasn't. I love the fact that the app displays all these Prime deals, Prime. And then when you go to your local Whole Foods, they don't have the item in stock. It wouldn't take very much of the CMO in Austin, Texas, to come down to the local Whole Foods and walk through and ask, hey, do you have this Prime deal in stock? And then if this person doesn't, you've got a supply chain issue. These are the obstacles that we all are dealing with every day, and it's why it's why brick and mortars are failing, because they are not meeting the customer needs.
Look, I think it's a very elegant approach to bring, I'm a big fan, always have been, right, of customer centricity. But I want to go back to simplicity just for one more moment. I think the challenge with simplicity is a fear that without the smoke and the mirrors and the mystification and the additional steps and the, that brands can't command a premium price or a higher price for something that just is simple and too easy. And maybe maybe they shouldn't, or maybe they should just be a little bit more secure, and so people pay a premium for that.
But that's why I thought that the best way to solve the digital marketing conundrum of wanting too many features is to decentralize it. I'm part of the old timers group. You've heard of them. They discuss, I love it when they routinely ask their members for recommendations for a tool. And inevitably, every tool that is recommended says, well, but it doesn't do this. But it's not really optimized for agencies. But it can be white branded, or whatever tool is recommended cannot meet everyone's needs. That's why we need a decentralized app economy for digital marketers, so that they can say, I just need that white branding. Give me that. I just need, CSV import, export. Give me that. And that is why, and that would really allow you as an engineer or developer to focus on your core competency. What do you actually bring to the party that I absolutely have to have, and not have to worry about the featureitis, which would kill your product, because the end user would say, I can do dynamic mail merge using my virtual identity, whatever,
You're talking about collaboration, and collaboration is, listen, we can't collaborate from a political standpoint. We can't collaborate on any level.
Yes.
The word co-opetition was created a while ago. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Right.
We still struggle, and that's, to me, that is an old-fashioned, siloed belief. It is an old, archaic corporate belief that actually says, NDAs, the secret formula for KFC or Coca-Cola. The world doesn't operate that way anymore. The more open and transparent, the better. Or am I being too idealistic?
We're working towards open AI. We're going to eventually have open everything, and that's the way it's going to go. And of course, that creates a huge amount of pandemonium among all these startups, because they're preventing you from using products like that, because that's going to take away a lot of their features. But hey, this is what the customer wants. Give the customer what he or she wants.
Well, I've used this analogy lately, and certainly on the show, which is, with the upcoming election coming up, a voter is a customer. And customers typically vote with their dollars, and citizens vote with their vote, and we'll get to see whether, in fact, customers win, or which customers win. Just to use that analogy. But Michael, carry on.
Yeah, if anyone is out there developing ideas for how we fix government, the first thing we need is digital voting. by 2024. First thing. I mean,
Right.
it has to happen. The fact that we've got $9 billion Larry Ellison, $150 billion Mr. Bezos, $60 billion Gates, all sitting on the sidelines and not trying to solve this problem that we have in the United States is a fucking shame. Sorry, pardon my French. Is a damn shame. We need to fix this right now. And these are the problems. We need transparency in healthcare. We need transparency in government. These are all problems that need startup solutions. And I know it's tough, but you can work your way into it and you can get a solution out the door. And, there are people have tried, but, these are innovations that are screaming out for solutions and they're not getting it. Instead, we're getting another TikTok and we're getting another, crappy entertainment solution that we absolutely don't need. We need real help in America and we need it bad. Last night's show was is a disaster. This can't happen. And the reason why it happens is that there is a huge group in the United States that is not educated or smart enough to distinguish between truth and fiction. And that means there is a disconnect somewhere in our educational process. That needs to be solved.
So it's interesting that you take it back, intuitively and correctly back to the educational system itself. I had a guest, I think it was Kuda Biza last week, and he said our educational system does not teach our students to be entrepreneurs. It teaches them to be managers, or maybe more importantly, to be managed. Take the order, process the order, delegate the order, cut and paste the order, replicate the order, as opposed to free thinking, causal versus effectual thinking. Yeah. And I've always believed if you put the problems of the world into the hands of pure entrepreneurs, we can solve any problem. Period.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So
I'm going to bring one more element into play, and this is when I play a game with my guests, which is to guess who said this. For you, I have two quotes. So here's, and they both are connected, right? Here's the first one. It's always about timing. If it's too soon, no one understands, and if it's too late, everyone's forgotten. So you probably won't get this. In fact, I know you'll get the second one, but I'll give you a chance. Who said that?
I'm going to just off the cuff guess that it was either Steve Jobs or Guy Kawasaki.
No, you're completely in the wrong continent, in the wrong industry. It's actually Anna Wintour.
Right.
And I think she might have been. It was interesting because I think she was talking about different kinds of trends, maybe fashion trends.
She was thinking about fashion trends. Yes.
Right,
yeah.
but
it applies to everything. Yes. Yeah.
This one you should get. We always overestimate change that will occur in the short term and underestimate change that will occur in the long term.
A permutation of that circulates in Silicon Valley.
Yes. I modified it slightly.
Oh, you did? Okay.
10 years. Does that help you?
Yeah. It's like we overestimate. Yeah. It's a time compression thing, because that really tells you exactly what it means. Is that change happens faster than we
right. So that was Bill Gates. And one of these people that and listen, let's give Bill some credit. I think he's been quite proactive and doing his part from a COVID standpoint. But I would love for you to comment on timing.
Yeah, well, just let me argue that one with you. I'm very cognizant of the fact that people in Africa need clean water. But I'm much more concerned with American kids getting food on their table. And I think that maybe it's jingoistic, maybe it's egocentric, who knows? But we have so many problems here at home. We need to solve those first before we go reach out to other people. And I know that's not the altruistic approach, but let's make this country powerful first. And when we make our country powerful, we will be able to help a lot of people very quickly.
Look, I think the analogy that, or what I think about when you say that is when the mask drops down in the plane that is hurtling, and losing altitude at exponential rates. They say put the mask on yourself before tending to your child or someone who isn't able to take care of themselves. So I understand where you're coming from. At least you didn't say make America great again, but you are saying, make America powerful again.
That concept is not wrong. I mean, I think that, the president believes that we should be making more product here at home, and Biden believes the same thing. And I think we should. I think we should punish China for making so much cheap crap and loading up Americans with debt to buy it. We need a flight to quality. We need to go back to our roots. We need to drink milk from the milkman. We need to simplify things. We need to stop throwing away so much packaging. We need to, it was a simpler time, but also it was a far more greener and efficient time. We're not very efficient now. I know it's more convenient to have that big plastic package that you just picked up at Costco, where you're going to end up with more pounds of waste than you have in product. But that's not really solving our world, is it? Not helping.
Well, I think you've brought so many elements together, and the reason why I brought those two quotes on timing is I think back to you being ahead of your time, and I think you've always been ahead of your time. I've been accused of being ahead of my time too, but maybe our timing is now, where we can actually take all of those lessons and learnings, sometimes when we've been ahead, sometimes when we've been behind, and focus it on present day. And I know that you are focused on two things right now. Most notably, you are engrossed in COVID.
Yes, I am immersed in COVID. Before I launch into that, I want to give you a funny little tidbit. In 2012, I hosted a pizza and champagne party in San Francisco for my staff from Mac Week. And you're going to love the theme of the party was 25 years too early. Because when we were Mac Week, we had no respect. You know that. PC, it was all IBM PC, it was Microsoft. And now when you walk around, the MacBooks everywhere, iPhones everywhere, and the staff loved it. They understood it. We went through so much pain, and guess what it's now? It's amazingly different.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you. So let's talk about what has got your attention right now, and how, as you said, you're all in with COVID. What does that mean?
Well, I think that, one of the biggest challenge we have right now is figuring out what really happened to the novel coronavirus. And I thought about it for a long period of time. I had this idea in mind back in the spring when it was exploding, that, I should write a book that, looks at the whole case study and tries to figure out what really happened. I sat on it, unfortunately, for another 3 months because I was, challenged by a question that I know I'm going to get a lot from the media when this book comes out. And they're going to say, Michael Tchong, you're a marketing guy. You can't write books about healthcare. What a joke you are. So I decided, all right, look, I'm going to write a book that has the storyline that weaves around what happened with a huge amount of pull quotes from studies so that it's in their words, not in mine, because this is where disinformation starts. Everyone twists the words and makes them a little different, and therefore you get disinformation. So what I want to do with lockdown is say, okay, I looked at 100 medical studies, I took excerpts of them, and I weave a story around it. And I'm going to take you down to a logical conclusion. And when you get that conclusion, you will then make up your own mind whether that conclusion is right on the money or not. But it is going to lead you somewhere. And I have to, because it's really a detective story. Let me introduce myself. I'm Placido Domingo, and I'm your novel Corona beer virologist.
Heaven help us all.
And you know, again, look, it's a fascinating story. You know, it's a fascinating story. It's a microbiology crime investigation, and it is got all the elements of a thriller, because there are so many things that happened around it that are mind-boggling, literally. So I think Lockdown is going to be a very controversial book, but it will answer a lot of questions for people who are, you know, wondering about the whole thing.
But it's not. Is it going to be classified? I mean, I think it's interesting you're talking of it as a novel about the novel virus. It's not a conspiracy theory. Is there conspiracy theory in there?
Well, look, we have enough conspiracy theories. So basically what I say is, look, here's what happened. You know, we have a virus, and it does have three distinguishing features that normal viruses don't have. It has an RBD that looks like that it has been messed with. It has a polybasic furin cleavage site that is unusual, that is not found in any other coronaviruses except for HQ1. And then it is quite evident, based on a study from a scientist at the University of British Columbia, that the virus suddenly appeared without a peer in the fall of 2019. And so normally and everyone is, Christian Anderson, who is the fabulous guy over at Scripps, who wrote that study that everyone is referring to when they say it was not created in the lab, you know, also admits that, you know, this RBD was optimized for mass infection. But he doesn't answer the question of, well, how did it happen? But what he does say is that it happened naturally in animals in the wild. The problem with that is that the SARS-CoV-2 was never seen before until November of 2019. So how did it evolve? A lot of questions. I list all the questions at the end in the summary. I list all the questions, and then I give you all of the answers, and I can refer you to parts of the book that answer those questions, and then you can draw your own conclusion.
So listen,
fascinating.
I'm telling you. Well, listen, Leslie is on the edge of her seat, and she can't wait to read it.
She's gonna love it. She's gonna love it.
I'm wondering how does it end? Does it end well, Michael? Please tell me.
Does it end? Well, you know, I think we need to know, and that will give us a lot of comfort, because then we can close the loop. And I think that is, for me, that's a good ending. You know, now I can rest assured this is how it happened. There's no more question mark of how it happened. I mean, to quote one of our famous politicians in America, all roads lead to Xi Zhengli. She's known as China's Batwoman. So Again, lots of personalities. We've got Ralph Barrick there at the University of North Carolina, Southern gentleman, but what is he up to? And you've got all these characters. You've got Yan Li Meng, who wrote that story. She's that scientist who escaped from Hong Kong in April, and she says that she has got the leading white paper that says that it was a man-made virus. And so I dissected. I took all of them, and then I layered it against, like I said, 100 studies. I actually built a database in Airtable where I have all the studies listed, all the dates, if it's a preprint or not, which means it's non-peer reviewed, and then all the authors. So I already have over 500 authors in the database. So I'll be able to tell you who are the people who are most on the bat list. Who are the bad people? Shi Zhengli, number 1, Ralph Barrick, number 2, Peter Daszak, number 3. So all of these characters are in there, right? The affable Britishman, the Edward Holmes, the mysterious Australian, So I think that's going to be interesting reading. I'm not going to oversell it. I think it's going to be interesting reading.
Look, I'm fascinated to sit down with you and have 50 minutes to get inside the enigma, the mind that is Michael Tchong, from RuPaul, Dennis Rodman, no-show camels,
right.
and Broadway shows and gorillas,
and master weddings.
Yes, and in the middle of being a trendologist, a futurist, where you are right now, and it's not lost on me, which is how you're almost looking at this as you say, a novel, a thriller, almost as if, what do they say? Truth is stranger than fiction. And in this case, you may as well look at it as fiction. It might even help by thinking fictionally as opposed to rationally or logically.
Right.
And look, I mean, I will say one thing, which is, and this also came from one of my previous guests, which is ask why. Ask why. Like, ask the question why. Like, even we're discussing on 9/11. On 9/11, instead of attacking, weapons of mass destruction and moving forward and retaliating, and which is what we did.
That's a mistake.
What he said was, but ask, why did they attack us? Why were we attacked? And I think when you do that, what you start doing is understanding that if we want to understand the present and future, we have to first understand the past. We have to understand why it happened in order to be able to figure out A, what to do, B, what to do next, and C, ensure that it never happens again.
It never happens again. Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah.
Well, Michael Tchong, I got everything that I thought I would get and more, and I got a lot of what I didn't think I was going to get. I am on the edge of my seat, and I hope I will get a preview copy, or I'll pay for it. I don't care. I'm just going to go straight to the end and find out what happens.
And I'll send you a copy of my Uber Trans in case you haven't read it. Look, it's 356 pages of not beach reading.
That is awesome.
Beautifully illustrated, lots of photos.
It's beautiful because I'm not going to be on the beach anytime soon, but you can check out Uber Trends. And what I am going to do right now is I'm just going to paste the Amazon URL in the comment thread, so you can actually go. I mean, you can go to Amazon anyway and find it, but I just want to make it easy because I am customer centric.
Yes.
You can follow Michael on Twitter at Ubercool. And Michael, a bunch of websites. You want to just tell people very briefly what is on each one of these websites?
Okay, I run 4 blogs, believe it or not. Michael Tchong, of course, primary trend watching blog, innovation. Popera. Popera is a concept that I had basically that came out of Web Attack, which is I asked the Krauses, will you help me produce something that's on trend? And I'll tell you what, it's even more on trend than it was 20 years ago. Baby boomers need to get pumped up. baby boomers need to be reminded of what a huge change force they were being the key word here. And what I want to do is produce this musical experience that makes them think back and makes them remember who they really are, because they are the ones that are causing the fracas that we have right now. So it's an uplifting experience that uses music to reinvent and bring back the spirit. Social Revolution talks all about what's happening and what's wrong with the country. The tax, all the horrible things in government, all of that. Tool Hacker is kind of like what I said to you before, which is it's 165 tools on there, and they all do one thing really well. It's too many, but at least you have a site that helps you, find the best.
All right, and in addition to all of that, Michael also has his YouTube channel, and you can check it out and find out a little bit more about what he's up to. And how often are you producing content on your channel, Michael?
I wish you hadn't asked me that. I was producing it weekly until I started this book.
All right, well, listen, you can't be everyone.
Yeah, it's insane. There's so much research, so it's very hard to do.
There are some good videos there. Michael, you've been very kind just to allow us into your world, spend some time with you today. And if you want to actually hang out with us, we're going to be heading over to the Zoom after show for just a brief while, but we will head over there. Michael, any final words, or I always like to give the last word to my guest.
Go big or stay home.
We'll leave it at that. Go big or stay home. And as Chuck Norris would say,
you are Chuck Norris approved.
Thank you for watching Corona TV with your host, multiple author, and global keynote speaker, Joseph Jaffe. Corona TV is the show about hope, positivity, optimism, and if there's time left over, a little bit of marketing. The after show on Zoom starts right now at bit.ly/Corona TV After Show. If you like the show, tell a friend or two. Please subscribe to the show at CoronaTV.show. And if you want to get inside news, previews of upcoming guests, and much more, text Corona TV to 66866 or visit josephjaffe.com/subscribe to sign up for the show's newsletter.
And despite the best ministrations of your wife, you still look ugly.